So Srila Prabhupada, he thought that he would leave his body before he completes the entire Bhagavatam. So he put in a lot of the philosophy in the first two cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. After that, the purports are strong, but not nearly as strong as the first two cantos. Right? So if you see the first canto, just the first verse, you'll be blown away. Srila Prabhupada gives a very, very, very long purport. Right? If you look at this one, like there are people like Guru Maharaj has given a class for 3 days on this topic. And there are ISKCON preachers who have given class for for a month on this topic. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's guru, gave 3 months on this just one verse.
Oh, wow.
So that's why Srila Prabhupada packed it. What is Brahman means? What is Bhagwan means? What is Paramahamsa? What is Purana? What is the Brahma Sutras? What is philosophy? So he goes into great depth describing who is the Lord, what's his rasa dance. So he basically shifted left. This means he took content from other cantos, like 10th canto has this Rasa Leela, and he brings that information. He in this very first verse, he talks about Gayatri Mantra, then the Swarupa of the Lord, the form of the Lord. So this is very, very, very interesting on how he moves this information.
Right. But is it okay to is it like you have to finish Bhagavad Gita first, or can you read it?
You can do them in parallel, right? Bhagavad Gita is more like the law book. It will give you, Krishna says, this is what demons are, this is what devotees are, this is what you should do. He doesn't go into great depth because it's a whole conversation is what, 1.5 hours between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, right, in Sanskrit. But because we have the English translation and purport, it will take us longer to kind of go through the entire book. Srimad Bhagavatam, on the other hand, there is no hurry. It's like carefully compiled 18,000 verses, which gives information about God. So you see this? Let's try this one. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Janmadiyasya yato anvayad itaratascharthe swa abhignaswarat.
Janmadasya yato yad itaraschar swa abhinaswarat.
Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Suraya.
Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Suraya.
Tejo Vari Mridam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisa.
Tejo Vari Mridam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisa.
Damnam Svena Sada Nirashtakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi.
Damna Sena Sada Nirashtakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi.
Right? O my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge into heart of Brahma, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representation of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do material universes, temporarily manifested by reactions of 3 modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Right? So Lord is giving knowledge, Vedic knowledge, into the heart of Brahmaji. So when you meditate, knowledge is revealed in the heart, as they say. Knowledge is revealed. That's why all these are called revealed scriptures. Even to a certain extent, Bible is considered to be a revealed scripture.
Right.
Of course, all the Vedic literature is revealed. So it comes into heart of Brahma. That's why Brahma sits at the top of our parampara. It's called Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya, and all the knowledge is coming through that parampara.
Oh, okay.
And he says even great sages and demigods are put into illusion by the Supreme Personality. So who are we, right? We get illusioned very easily. And he says material universes temporarily manifested by reactions of three modes of nature. So this mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance that we talk about in Bhagavad Gita are causing the material universe to temporarily manifest, and then it will be annihilated. I mean, we'll be annihilated much before this manifestation is annihilated, but essentially all of us will be annihilated. So they appear factual, although they are unreal. See, all our relationships with parents, kids, wives, husbands, all these things, everything appears factual, but they're all temporary. They'll come and go.
Yeah.
So it said, I therefore waited upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from illusory representations. So in material world, everything is an illusory representation of something. Everything is illusory representation. You build a building, after 50 years, the building has to be broken down because it's old and it may not be safe to live in that, right? Everything has a beginning and an end. Whereas in spiritual world, you are free from that kind of temporality or illusion.
Right. Yeah.
Satyam Param Dhimahi. He is Param Satyam. Satyam means truth. Param means absolute. Param Satyam.
You mean, but in the spiritual world, do you mean, but not only like, does that only mean like planets, or do you mean like the highest, like Goloka?
Spiritual world is, there is something called Goloka chart. So if you look at this Goloka chart, this is the material world. So let's click on it to see a bigger diagram. You see, this is the material world, and we are somewhere in the middle, earthly planet. So there are 7 heavenly and 6 subterranean planets. Right? So from the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu's navel comes this system in which you have Brahma. And Brahma meditates for 10,000 years and he gets this knowledge of what it is, and then he starts creating this. So it's essentially is all in the stalk of this lotus flower. Just like if you go to your backyard and cut a rose flower, there's a stalk, right? So all these universes are there in the stalk. I mean, this is one universe. All these planets are there within the stalk of that universe.
But these are all spiritual.
Material world. And there are millions of such bubbles. You see, these bubbles, millions of such bubbles come from the body of Karnodakshaya Vishnu.
Oh, okay.
This is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Garbha means the womb. So he's in the womb of this universe. In one universe, you have all these planetary systems. There are actually very few planetary systems and a lot of dark matter all around it. So scientists say, oh, there is dark matter, you cannot see anything. Yeah, which is true because, there are only a few planetary systems on the stalk of Brahma's lotus flower, which comes from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Everything else is just emptiness, vast amount of emptiness. And then the soul cannot escape because of all these layers: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. So these layers will capture the soul internally. Okay? And then comes the intermediate spiritual world. It's called Haridham. So on a lotus stalk of 1008 petals, you have these various Vaikuntha planets. And then above that comes Goloka Vrindavan, again a lotus flower of 1008 petals. And in the central part is where Radha Krishna's Leelas happen. So this is very elaborate. Modern science is still struggling with here, right? They're trying to find out, earth, water, earth, Mercury, Venus, all these are here, stuck here. But we are going way beyond the material world as we know through the scriptural information. You will not be able to find this through telescopes because telescopes are also material tools. You cannot see a spiritual item with a material tool. At best, you will see everything in that earthly realm with earth, water, fire, air, ether. You see this? So
Yeah.
scientists are basically playing here.
Okay, I see.
They cannot even see heavenly planets. They cannot see these subterranean planets.
Right.
And they say, oh, yeah, we have millions of universes. Okay, first tell me about our own universe before you talk about millions of other universes. Right?
So yeah.
Their information is very limited. I mean, it may take like 5,000 years for them to figure it all out. They have been at it for about 100 years, not too long.
Right.
Right? So these are very interesting aspects of the creation.
Yeah.
So that is what, I mean, all these diagrams were made after reading these books, right? So artists, the devotee artists read all these things and then they created graphical depiction. Actually,
Yeah.
one of our god brother, Guru Bhai, in Salem, he made this diagram.
Oh, okay.
If you go to Salem, you'll meet him. I think you should consider going at some point. Already traveled, opened up. Like this friend of mine who sent that WhatsApp message. He's in Silicon Valley, California, and he already went
Oh,
to
yeah.
this year. So people are already traveling and going.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. So you should consider doing that at some point. Yeah. So read this purport.
Obediences unto the personal of God of Vasudeva directly indicate Lord Sri Krishna, the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. This fact will be more explicitly explained in the text of this work. Sri Vasudeva asserts here and then that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all others are his direct or indirect plenary portions or portions of the portion. Srila Jiva Goswami has even more explicitly explained the subject matter in his Krishna Sandarbha. And Brahma, the original living being, has explained the subject of Sri Krishna substantially in his treatise named Brahma Samhita. In the Upanishad, in the Samaveda, it is also stated that Lord Sri Krishna is the divine son of Devaki. Therefore, in this prayer, the first proposition holds that Lord Sri Krishna is a primeval Lord, and if any transcendental nomenclature is to be understood as belonging to absolute personal Godhead, it must be the name indicated by the word Krishna, which means all attractive. In Bhagavad Gita, in many places, the Lord asserts himself to be the original personality of Godhead, and this is. Sorry, can you scroll down? And this is confirmed by Arjuna and also by great sages like Narad, Vyasa, and many others. In the Padma Purana, it is also stated that out of the innumerable names of the Lord, the name of Krishna is the principal. Vasudeva indicates the plenary portion of the personality of Godhead, and all the different forms of the Lord being identical with Vasudeva are indicated in this text. The name Vasudeva particularly indicates the divine son of Vasudeva. Sri Krishna is always meditated upon by the Paramsas, who are the perfected ones among those in every renounced order of life. Vasudeva, or Lord Sri Krishna, is the cause of all causes. Everything that exists emanates from the Lord. How is this so explained in later chapters of the work? This work is described by Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya as the spotless Purana because it contains a transcendental narration of the personality of God, Sri Krishna. The history of the Srimad Bhagavatam is also very glorious. It was compiled by Sri Vyasadeva after he attained maturity and transcendental knowledge. He wrote this under the instructions of Sri Naradji, his spiritual master. Vyasadeva compiled all Vedic literatures containing the 4 divisions of the Vedas, the Vedanta Sutras, or the Brahma Sutras, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, and so on. But nevertheless, he was not satisfied. His dissatisfaction was observed by a spiritual master, and thus Narada advised him to write on the transcendental activities of Lord Sri Krishna. These transcendental activities are described specifically in the 10th canto of the Gita. But in order to reach the very substance, one must proceed gradually of developing knowledge of the categories.
Yeah, this is very important. People jump here and
Yeah.
there. You're not allowed to jump actually, because in order to reach the very substance, one must proceed gradually by developing knowledge of the categories, right?
Right.
So canto 1, 2, 3, you have to go in a sequential fashion to understand the position of Sri Krishna.
Mhm.
There are so many literatures, 4 divisions of the Vedas, like Rig Veda, Tharva Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, like that, right?
Mhm.
And then this is called a spotless Purana, Amala Purana, means a Purana which doesn't have any blemishes in it. The other Puranas, some of them are in the mode of ignorance. They will actually encourage you to eat meat and things like that. But then that is not for the superior devotees. That is for
Okay.
lower class people. So somebody cannot say, oh, I found this text in the other Purana, therefore I will do this. No, you have to gravitate towards the highest knowledge, not to lower knowledge. So when you gravitate towards the higher knowledge, then you will become more strong in your devotion.
Wait, so what does Puranas like mean? What?
Purana means there are 108 Puranas, no, 108 Upanishads and 18 Puranas, Ashtadasha Purana. Puranas are documentation, stories about the Lord. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the best of those 118 Puranas. And there are 108 Upanishads, like Isvapanishads is one of them. Mundaka Upanishads is one of them. Svetastatara Upanishad is one of them, like that. So you have multiple Upanishads that you need to read to understand this knowledge. Of course, Bhagavad Gita is a summary study of all these things put together. It's very cryptic. If you bat an eyelid, you will miss it. Whereas
Right.
these other things give you more detail. They'll give you stories around how to do certain things or how not to do certain things, like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And there is also the Sandarbhas. Sandarbhas are again advanced texts where you have this information about Krishna.
Oh, okay.
There is Paramatma Sandarbha, Krishna Sandarbha, right? Let's do a search and find out what Krishna Sandarbha is.
Yeah, I didn't know. Actually, in Las Vegas, when I went to the ISKCON there,
Mhm.
I got this one book. It's a, I think it's called Sri Mana Shiksha or Sri Raghunath Das Goswami.
Yeah, Shri Mana Shiksha. Yeah, that's a very advanced book. You won't understand it now. You have to go step by step. And Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam can be done in parallel. Right? So this is the Shastric establishment of bhakti, basically.
Okay.
So as you can see, this will be more advanced.
Yeah.
Like text 1, let's see what it says. In the previous 3 Sandarbhas, the conception of God as a supreme person full of all powers and opulences is proved to be the ultimate phase of absolute truth, superior to every other conception of God. So we are already expected to know the 3 modes of material nature, what is karma, what is jnana, what is dhyana. So
Yeah.
to understand all those things, actually you can, like I did a aerial overview of Bhagavad Gita on YouTube
Oh, okay.
some time ago, maybe a couple of years ago. You can see that just to get an overview. journey of the Bhagavad Gita, and I did not know where to start. And a lot of senior devotees and disciples of Swami Prabhupada were trying to teach me how to basically understand the Bhagavad Gita. And over the last 17 years, I improved upon my understanding, and I tried to present it to you in a very short time frame. Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. Chapter 1 is observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So here, this is also called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Every chapter in Bhagavad Gita has a title, Yoga. Here, Arjuna is in Vishada, means he's lamenting to fight or not to fight, because once he starts fighting, a large number of people, 640 million people to be precise, will be killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra near modern day Delhi. So he describes 5 reasons. One is, I don't want to fight because it is against compassion. Second is enjoyment. If everybody dies, who will I enjoy with? Destruction of family tradition. Then who will do Pinda Pradhan? Fear of sinful reactions, because if I kill, it is sin. And finally, indecision. And in chapter 2, the Lord summarizes what is to come in the remaining 16 chapters. He talks about Karma Yoga, he talks about Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, finally how to understand him through Bhakti, but at a very summarized level. Primarily, he focuses on the science of the soul. He spends no less than 20 verses describing the qualities of the souls, that it cannot be cut by weapons, it cannot be. Yeah, so I won't, go to the whole thing now.
Yeah.
Actually, you can you can basically look at it at your own convenience. But it's good to know the whole Bhagavad Gita once has a summary, because otherwise you'll be lost in the weeds, as they say.
Right.
Might be looking just at one aspect and forgetting the other aspects.
Mhm.
So I'll send you that link. Actually, I should send it to all of our Sunday classmates.
Yeah, for some reason I can't see the group chat anymore.
You cannot see?
No.
Okay. What can you see now? Can you see my screen at all?
No, I can see it.
Yeah. So here we talk about Srila Gopala Bhatta Goswami. Remember, I talked about the 6 Goswamis yesterday.
Yeah.
One of them is Gopal Bhatta Goswami. One of them Rupa Goswami. One of them is Sanatana Goswami. Jiva Goswami. Right? So let's go to kksongs.org and look at the lyrics. Here is Krishna Kirtana, Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro. That is me. Sad Goswami has to come. Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro. Premam Budhum Budho.
Oh, are these all bhajans?
Oh, all these are bhajans. Thousands of bhajans. One lifetime is not sufficient to go through all these. Like if you go to home, right? All the bhajans starting song lyrics with this. In each one of them, you'll have like 50, 60. So there's a large number of songs. So this is by official title, which is Sadgoswami Sadgoswami Astakam. Yeah. Spanish. No, I want English. Krishnot Gana Nartana Paro Premamritham Bho Nidhi. You can try.
Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paru Premamratam
Bho Nidhi.
Nidhi.
Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priya Karo Nirmatsara Pujita.
Dira Dira Jana Priyakaro Nirmata Saro Pujato.
Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharo Bhuvi Bhuvo Bharavantam Tarakam.
Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharu Bhuvi Bhuvo Bharavantakaruko.
Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalaka.
Vande Rupa Sanatana Rago Yoga Shri Jiva Gopalako.
So, who are the 6 Goswamis? Right? If you look them up, the 6 Goswamis, they are the leading disciples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Okay.
And 4, they came from aristocracy, means like rich families, but they gave up everything. So Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, etc.
Oh,
Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami. There you go. So you have all 6.
okay.
So these Rupa and
So these
Sanatan
were
were
Chaitanya
formerly,
Mahaprabhu's disciples.
right. They were formerly high-ranking ministers in the Islamic government of Bengal. And their nephew is Jiva Goswami.
Oh.
Gopala Bhatta Goswami is from aristocratic South Indian family from Srirangam. Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Das's father and uncle were wealthy landowners. And Raghunatha Bhatta studied under Rupa Goswami. And then he established the Govindaji temple. So all these 6 people are considered to be the most powerful in devotion.
Oh, okay.
We have to take shelter of them in order to move forward in our devotion.
Mhm.
Nana Shastra Vicharanayak Nipuno Sadharma Samstapako.
Nana Shastra Vikarnaka Nipanu Sadharma Samstapako.
Vicharanaika Nipuno. Vichara means you are researching that, you are contemplating that on the various Shastras. Okay, hold on just a minute. Somebody's at my door.
Yep.
Lokanam hitakarinau tribhuvane manyau sharanyakaro.
Loknam Hita Karno Tribhuvane manya sarankhya karo.
Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nande Namattaliko
Radha Krishna Padara Vinda Bhajanandina Mata Ko.
Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo Sri Jiva Gopalaka
Vandirupa Sanantana Radha Jago Shri Jiva Gopalako.
So those are the Goswamis. So the translation, I offer my respectful obeisances unto 6 Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Dasa Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who are always engaged in chanting of the holy name of Krishna and dancing. They are just like ocean of love of God, and they are popular both with gentle and with the ruffians, because they are not envious of anyone. Whatever they do, they are all pleasing to everyone, and they are fully blessed by Lord Chaitanya. Thus, they are engaged in missionary activities meant to deliver all the conditioned souls. So, those are the names: Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, who are the direct disciples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then there were some more who came along: Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Gopala Bhatta Goswami. Gopala Bhatta Goswami is from South India. Jiva Goswami is the nephew of Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami and Sri Raghunath Dasa Goswami, we just learned about them. Raghunath Dasa Goswami came from landowners, and Raghunatha Bhatta studied under Rupa Goswami. So he's like disciple's disciple, if you can think of it that way.
Right.
Right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's disciple is Rupa Goswami, and his disciple is, or studied under, means basically disciple under Rupa Goswami. So that is the chain of command.
But so did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have more disciples?
He may have, but these are the primary, right? So here, these are the primary who have caused this knowledge to be propagated around the Bengal area and the Vrindavan area, because all these great temples were not built in Bengal, they were built in Vrindavan. And that is where Radha Krishna had their pastimes. So they were built there. Okay. I think we'll stop there for today and we'll continue next week. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Sure.
So one moment.
Yeah, sure.